Does it say how many people are live?
It will tell us when they come on. There'll be like a little number up here at the top. You see that, like the top corner where it says Metfix Port Clinton. You should be able to see like there's a little eyeball. It has 0 right now, but hopefully we get some live viewers.
Cool.
All right, Abram Kaple. That's you, right?
That's me.
We for those of you that are tuning in, we might have a little bit of a delay here. So if I ask him a question and he stares at me for a little bit, that's why. So we are here because you've reached out to me. You hit a little plateau. So you asked me to basically get on you every other day kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, let's do a podcast. Let's just jump on there and see what happens.
Jump on the pod.
So I ripped off the old CrossFit Killing the Fat Man series and I put that on the thumbnail just to see if we could get some more viewers. So background. Who are you? Kawhi Leonard?
I mean, I'm not sure what you're looking for here, but
Where are you from?
My name's
Originally?
Abram. 34 years old. I'll be 35 here in a couple months or a month. Yeah, I mean, work in sales, pretty sedentary job. Don't have the opportunity to kind of move around and do some other things. Enjoy coaching basketball. Unfortunately, not able to this year, but from, I guess, the Bucyrus area. I don't know if it's worth noting. Brett and I were roommates back in college, and that was kind of the connection, or at least the relevance to part of this conversation. I think it's probably worth noting. But yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure what you're looking for with that.
I was just looking for you to tell me who you were. So where are you from? Did you say that?
Yep. Bucyrus area, New Washington.
Bucyrus. So you went to Buckeye Central. I went to Winford. Those are neighboring schools. So we kind of grew up playing sports against each other. And then your cousin was one of my good friends throughout elementary school, middle school, high school, college. So we were always kind of in the same friend group in the loop there throughout the high school and college days.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to post something to see if we can get some more viewers on here. So make sure that we tell them that we're live. So if I act like I'm not listening, I'm trying to. But yeah, so we've known each other forever. College roommates, did a lot of dumb stuff together. Played flag football, basketball at the rec. Famously, you would throw balls into the curtain at the rec, right?
PG1.
Yeah, I mean,
I played for style points.
We all did. But yeah, so that's kind of like the background of how we met, where we're from. What'd you do in high school? Like, did you have a job? Did you play sports? Were you active, not active?
No, I mean, in high school, I mean, I had a job in the summertime, right? Lifeguard, nothing too crazy. And spent most of my times running around with friends, the girls I was, dated at the time, things like that. Basketball was something I loved, so I spent a lot of time doing that. Unfortunately, never got very good at it, but and then I played baseball too. So, between that and you're just kind of being a normal, teenager, high school. That's kind of where the majority of my time was spent. But yeah, definitely from. I don't know if the question was leading in towards physical activity, but I was on the go. I mean, I was doing stuff and, involved and doing everything that I could to stay busy and spend time with my friends and just run around doing hood rat stuff.
We all did hood rat stuff. Where'd you lifeguard at?
The New Washington
Dutchtown,
pool.
Dutchtown Pool.
Yeah, it's a pretty sweet spot if you've never been.
Why is it called Dutchtown? I never understood that.
That's a good question.
I don't even
I'm
know.
not sure either. I think maybe the Dutch settled here.
Interesting. You guys are all related, right?
And there's a lot of us. There's 3 to 4 to 5 last names that kind of were really prevalent in the community, I guess you could say.
Kaple, Worm.
Kaple, Worm, Heidinger, Carl.
Yep.
I feel like those are kind of the big ones, but
The big three. Big four.
the big 3, 4.5. We got any viewers? We got any live viewers yet?
We got 2 right now. There was 3 for a minute, and they saw us, and they're like, "Yep, not these guys."
Fair.
Yeah, if you guys got comments, drop them in the chat. We'll see if it's Wise and Clark. So you went to high school. You played a bunch of sports, and then what did you do after high school?
After high school, spent 1 year at OSU Mansfield for school, not really knowing what I wanted to do. I don't really entirely know that now. There's somebody in the comment, but eventually, I spent a lot of time in Bowling Green with you guys, visiting on the weekends and things like that. And without further ado, and no college visit, I decided that's where I was going to go. So ended up transferring to Bowling Green. Majored in criminal justice, which I have never, nor to this day, do anything with that degree. But, I think there's a lot of benefits from going, kind of experimenting, socially, learn a little bit about yourself, learning to live on your own to some degree, and, just kind of finding out a little bit who you are as a person. And I think my communication skills definitely increased with all that, despite not necessarily doing anything with that particular degree. So, that's kind of long-winded. But essentially that's, high school and how I ended up at BG, and was there for 5 years, took a victory lap. Had a lot of good times, met a lot of cool people, and, still keep in touch with the majority of them today. So, like yourself.
And the Eric Luthold, the head football coach at Port Clinton.
Shout out Eric Luthold.
Yep, shouts out. So, criminal justice background. I know that you did some stuff with like a task force at one point. You have any good stories there?
Man, I do. So I had to do an internship that was like 420 hours. So the summer between my junior and senior year, I was able to get linked up with Seneca County Drug Task Force. Spent about 40 hours a week there doing a lot of, I guess you could say like undercover work to some degree, working with informants and, people that were trying to negotiate lowering their sentence in the jail time that they were serving. So we worked with a lot of people that were in jail saying, hey, you do this for me and I'll narc on XYZ. So there was definitely an eye-opening experience because I had never been around or experienced anything like that. So definitely was eye-opening. In like, Seneca County is neighboring counties to where, I kind of grew up. So there's a lot of things that I guess I would have never known were taking place in such a small community, but definitely eye-opening, and saw a lot of cool things that maybe I don't know if I should talk about or not.
Did you sign an NDA?
No.
Yeah, then let's talk about it. What did you see?
I think the biggest one that I guess it was basically a bust was there was an apartment complex in a small town to where, it was kind of rumored that, through previous experience that the person that we were kind of after was armed and had, various weapons charges and was likely to have weapons when I guess the bust kind of took place. So with that information being known, we had called in the SWAT team to kick in the door of his apartment, right? So mind you, I'm 20, 21. I'm not licensed to carry. I'm not anything, but I did get I got the bulletproof vest. I got the vest that said sheriff, right? All the things. And I'm towards the back of the line, right? As we go to kind of kick in this door. And I mean, I'm telling you, like, you want to talk about like an adrenaline rush. Your heart's beating like Bugs Bunny out your chest, all the things. And I just remember that these guys came, and I don't even know what the tool is, but they literally just smashed open the door, threw in the flashbangs, and just like literally in the movies, like the sound goes off and the bang and all the things, and they go in there yelling. Like, I'm not allowed to go in, right? I don't have a weapon, but I'm like close enough to know what's going on. And eventually we arrested him. He was there as we suspected, and he had the materials that we thought he was going to have. So that's one that definitely sticks out. And mind you, like, this took place at like 3 or 4 in the morning. The guy owned a strip club. And so like we knew that in order to be able to catch him, right, we're basically on first shift hours. So that was kind of neat. I mean, I just remember literally being up for 24 hours and we were waiting around the police station. Or I guess more so like our off the grid office of where we kind of conducted things. And yeah, I mean, that's definitely one that sticks out. I'll never forget that.
You're saying we kicked in the door, like you were the one kicking in the door.
I mean, we did, my team, but no, that was cool. It was definitely neat for sure. There was another one too. We had thrown a GPS tracker on this guy that was supposedly like running basically from that area all the way up into Detroit and Toledo, to get whatever drugs that he was getting and then coming back down. So he was running this consistent route that we had tracked for a couple of weeks. We kind of knew like the time and kind of his pattern and what his routine and schedule was. And ultimately one day, we were going to bust him on his way back. So he was coming in on Route 6. No, not Route 6. Whatever runs north and south out of Fall Story. I think it's State Route 18. But he was coming into town, and we had things kind of set up all the way down the road. So like, okay, we had clearance. Okay, we saw him, all the things. And right when he got into town, we pulled him over in a bank parking lot and arrested him, threw him on the ground. And I'm saying we as in like I'm in the area, right? I'm in a vehicle watching it all go down. Actually, I might have videotaped this one because we had to videotape stuff. Go arrest him, do a full basically strip search of him, his vehicle. Like they're ripping out the internal padding, not the internal padding, but like the side panels on the door, all the things like that. Ultimately didn't find anything, didn't find what we were looking for. But we had a search warrant for a full body cavity search warrant. And ultimately,
Did you get to do that one?
I didn't get to do that one, but we found what we needed to find. So that was crazy because the dude was like crazy cool. Just acted like he had nothing to hide. And he's like, kind of had the demeanor of like, go ahead, search my car. Like, you're not going to find anything. I don't have anything.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, when we went back to the police department, they did that. And it was cocaine. I do remember that. And it was rumored to be like half. I remember the detective telling me it was like half of a pop can worth in a bag that was in his body.
He shoved it up his butthole.
He did. That he did.
Wow.
Somebody got it out. So those are the two. I mean, there's like a ton of stories, but like those are really the only two that kind of stick out of like, I think everything else would be just me telling stories that could be true, could be not true. I can embellish them.
I remember the first one. I think you came back and told us that one. I've never heard the pop can one. I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting one.
It's funny. I was just telling somebody the other day at work about the pop can one, and
Hetzel?
Yeah, crazy. It was Hetzel. Shout out Hetzel.
Oh, Hetzel. He's a good dude. And then So college years, still active, still playing. We're still playing basketball at the rec. We lifted every once in a while, right?
Yeah, I mean, not as much as maybe what you guys did. The majority of my time was playing basketball. I mean, I was in good enough shape to I would go run on my own. When I was dating the girl that I was dating there, like she was active and, there was nothing nobody would say that like, okay, we wouldn't go on a run together. Or I know we rollerbladed a good amount too.
Yeah, I do remember that.
One summer, bought some rollerblades and there was some bike trails and things like that. But I would say basketball was probably the majority of it, or any intramural sport that we played. I know there was a couple different ones, but no, I mean, consistently probably at the gym. I don't know, were we there 3-4 nights a week, depending?
Oh yeah, easily.
Sometimes more. And like not there for 20-30 minutes. Like we were there until, hours. I feel like hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours, just kind of depended on the run and if we ever eventually got beat.
That was rare.
It was pretty rare. In hindsight, something I wish we would have done would have been this would have been corny as hell, but to just track our record.
Yeah, we didn't lose very often when we had me, you, John, Brandon, Andrew.
No, you could insert anybody.
Yeah.
Raw, Wise.
Pretty good.
Ty.
Yeah, I forgot about Ty. He was usually sleeping. And then you got us in trouble, believe it or not, because you had your car parked in our driveway and we were only zoned for like something.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. The house we lived at, so I basically slept in the back porch, right? This makeshift room that was blocked by like a dresser. And I don't know, on the lease, what you guys technically could have 3 people and we had like 5.
Yeah, something like that. But I mean, there was rooms for everybody except for you, right?
Yeah, everybody had their own room,
but it was like there was 2 living rooms, and yeah, it was kind of whatever. You lived in the one living room, but we blocked it off, kind of, sort of.
Yeah, it was fine. I mean, it was college. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure we weren't the only ones that were. I mean, everybody would just find a way to make rent cheaper. You know what I mean? And kick it with their friends. And it was a little drafty back there. I'll say that. I do remember when it was cold. It was basically like sleeping outside. But
yeah, that whole room was just windows.
Just windows, dude, and none of them were sealed.
No insulation. Nothing.
But
air blowing through there.
But yeah, man, code enforcement wasn't having it.
No, they weren't. They came. How many times did they come to the house?
They were legit like spying on us.
Yeah, they 100% were. They were doing an investigation, but they came at least 3 times, and like we had to move you out totally. Like we moved all your shit to my girlfriend at the time's house. Who else lived there? It was me, you, Wise, Raw, and John.
John.
And so Wise had to move out too, right? We'd moved his stuff.
Yeah, we moved this stuff.
Wasn't room.
Remember they kept saying it was like Kristen Kaple lived there. And I was like,
yeah,
no, she didn't. Which is a distant cousin of mine that was, I think she went to BG, but
she parked in our driveway for a party or something, and that's how they got her car. That's how her name got involved.
Yeah, and it was
weird.
Like she may have been there one time, if ever.
Yeah, she might not have been there. She might have just parked at our house to go somewhere else. Yeah, it was very weird. But yeah, they would come and they would conduct their investigation. They came back like 3 or 4 times, searched, like walked through the house.
Yeah, they did do a walkthrough. I remember that.
And then one day I was sleeping. I had stayed up all night because I had not studied for an exam, and I was studying all night long. Went and took the exam, came back sleeping, dead asleep. Finally get to sleep. And SWAT team, that's where Abe learned it, was on his little task force. Basically you kicked in my door and you're like, they're here. I'm like, what? What are you what are you talking about? Yeah, they're here. Like, who is? They are. They're here. I get up and I go out and I answer the door, and it's one of our friends. He's just knocking on the door. Abram's freaking out. It's basically how that went down. It was a lot funnier when you were there, but
It
it
was,
was wild.
and it was really funny for months on end when the story was told because I incorporated a lot of nicknames after that too, and that was the running joke for a long time of me panicking that
Yes.
code enforcement was there to take us away. I don't know what they would have even done had we been there or had it
Gave us
been
a
them.
ticket or something. I don't know. Who knows?
It was a good story at the time, though, for sure.
So after college, what did you do? We went out to the real world. You got a job. Did you get started in the sales right after that? What did you do?
No, I worked at Children's Services for 1 year at Crawford County.
Oh, I forgot all
Back when
about
you
that.
worked at the bank,
Yeah,
and
you blacked that out.
worked there for 1 year to the day. On my 1 year anniversary, it was like when we could get our 2 weeks of vacation time. Either we incorporated 2 weeks of vacation time, or well, we did, and then I was just like, yeah, I'm out of here. I'm gonna take that in cash. So paid me my 2 weeks, and then I was out. I had a buddy at the time, Billy Stanley, who worked at where I work now, still to this day at Lind Media. He was the production manager, which did the creation of the design for. I worked for a billboard company, right? And he was on that end, and I had met him playing baseball through the years. He knew I wasn't happy and was looking for a career change. Ultimately, he's like, "Hey, you should apply here." I did, got the job, and been slinging billboards ever since. I'll be 11 years on March 20th, so kind of
11.
hard to believe. Yeah, I've been there
Holy shit.
at the same job, doing the same thing, talking to the same people. So, but yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. In terms of career, I mean there hasn't been any change, so there's not a lot of depth to that conversation unless you want to learn what I do.
So what's your territory? So if just in case somebody out there needs a billboard.
Yeah, I might have some people. So I can sell anybody that's in Huron, Seneca, Hancock, Hardin, Wyandotte, Marion, Morrow counties. So if your business resides in there, I can help you. If it's any further north or any further west, I can also help you out there as well. So that's my territory, man. Cover a lot of ground. Spend a lot of time in the car.
It's a lot of turf.
A lot of turf, man. A lot of miles on the car. I'm a great driver too. So
Yeah, right, dude.
that's
That was
something
another
I'm trying to
thing.
work on.
This guy, they're having a party at our house in Bowling Green, and this guy is like, "Yeah, I'm on my way." 20 minutes later, he texts us, "Dude, I just got a ticket." We're like, "Okay, still coming?" "Yep, I'm on my way." I don't know. Was it 3 hours later or less?
I remember one specific party. So I remember two specific parties. One, I wasn't going to school there yet, and there was that one. I don't know, this fictitious girl that I was talking to,
Steve?
and we called her. We called her phone, and like the ringback tone, right when that was a thing, was "Rockin' the Beer Gut" was the song, and she's like, "No, I'm on XYZ Street. Let's go check it out." And that's the time I almost hit the parked car because we're trying to find this person, and I was driving, the Dodge Neon. There's also that time, I think it was you, remember that at the corner of, so back when we lived at Falcons Point, what was the main road that ran north and south? Not college.
Enterprise? I don't know.
No, where there's that little carry out, and remember
Yeah,
I
I know what
backed
road you're
into
talking about. Clove?
no, I think it was South College Street. But anyway, long-winded.
West?
We were at that carry out. Remember I backed into a car there.
Yeah,
Either
I do.
you were with me or Wise. That was a hit and run. Get out of here. And the other one I remember specifically was I got 2 tickets in one day, and
That's what I was
Jonathan
getting.
Griffin. Huh?
You were coming to a party and you were like, "Yeah, I'm on my What?
Oh, I lost you.
The one time you were literally coming. I'm trying to share. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now.
All right. Dang. So it was Klotz Road or Napoleon?
Napoleon. No, Napoleon ran east and west. I'm talking the one that connected the university and ran straight down. Because Worcester ran east and west. I don't know. I can't hear you if you're talking.
What's this road called? South.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. My internet's struggling big time.
Yeah, I see that. Or somebody's is.
I'm back. Maybe. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. My internet just. I tried to share my screen to show what road it was, and it was gone.
Need to get that Starlink, boy.
Dude. Well, there's probably 6 people on the Wi-Fi here right now, so that doesn't help. But then, not a strong signal. So, yeah, the road that goes by that carryout was South College. If you couldn't hear anything I was saying when I was saying.
Yeah, that's where I hit a parked car. I also saw the pool at Falcons Point. You guys also told me not to jump in the water because it said it was too hot.
Was too hot. That was the biggest scam there was. Hey, dude, don't
Dude.
jump in. It's way too hot. It's like 45 degrees.
It had to have been like in March. I was like, dude, I don't know. Seems kind of crazy. But
It was crazy.
no, the time I definitely got pulled over, come to a party. I just remember John Griffin calling me, and for whatever reason, he was like, yeah, dude. I'm like, John, I don't know, man. This is the second time I've been pulled over today. I'm not sure I'm going to make it.
Yeah, that was the party I was talking about to begin with. You got 2 tickets in one day, and they were like maybe 3 hours apart.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the only time that's happened, by the way.
No, it was unfortunate because there's twice I've gotten 2 tickets in one day. And the one was the same cop because he hit me with a remember me call. I'm like, yeah, you douche. I do.
Yeah, for you.
Like, mind you, dude, I don't have no money. I'm writing $185 checks every 3 hours to the Rising Sun Police Department or wherever it was.
Dang, that
Some
sounds like Clark.
Some made up town. But I didn't even know Clark back in the day.
No, you didn't. Well, you should have, because we went. No, he wasn't with us. I was gonna say he might have been with us at Piesnello's when we threw that piece of pizza in that bucket. But he wasn't.
No.
I think it was just me, you,
Oh,
and
just
Wise.
me, you, and Wise.
Cade was with us.
Kid might have been there one or two times. But it's definitely me, you, and Wise. And just threw pizza in the bucket.
We were always there. Best pizza there is, by the way. So how'd we get here? You did all that stuff throughout high school, college, started a sales job, driving in your car all day. You played basketball for a while after college, even. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Then what'd you do?
You're saying how did I get to being fat? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, roundabout way.
I mean, I think, with probably most people, maybe not most people, but with me, you know, um, some of those activities kind of just stopped. I mean, I played basketball pretty regularly until maybe 2016, and then I tore my Achilles. And basketball at the time was like my primary form of cardio. Like I didn't lift, I didn't do anything like that, but we would go and play like old man's league up at Buckeye Central, like on Sundays and Wednesday night. And then one winter, 2016, I tore my Achilles, which basically had me laid up for a better part of a year. I mean, I would say at least 9 months of, trying to work myself back to honestly just walking. A crazy injury, and it sucked that I had to go through that, but that was kind of the end of my basketball career, if you will, essentially because it was so difficult to really do anything, right? It was my right foot. It impaired my ability to drive. It impaired my ability to work and just all these other things. And like, now I don't know what I was, 26, 27, but like you're paying for that injury out of your own pocket, right? And things kind of hit a little bit differently. And it's like, well, listen, man, like, what do I have to prove on the basketball court? Like, I'm done with this. Like, I can't afford to get injured anymore. So, that kind of happened. And then I'm working an office job, which either I'm sitting at an office space all day or driving around and conducting my meetings. And, it's a pretty sedentary lifestyle. Night, buddy. And,
Hi, buddy.
you combine that with, I was in a long-term relationship, one or the other, right at this time. You get complacent and just like, I don't really have to do anything, or you're spending your free time with them doing, XYZ, whether you're going on dates or whatever the case may be, but activity just kept decreasing. And in the complacency, as I mentioned, of I don't have to impress anybody and, I don't have to look good for anybody, was kind of my mindset. So I just kind of, let myself go and sprinkled in there, right? I was coaching basketball. So my job would be, now that did get me up on my feet and moving a little bit more.
Yeah, it's not like you weren't doing anything. You were always busy. It was just whatever you said. Yeah.
Yeah, just random stuff. But with that, right, I'm going from basically wake up in the morning and going to work and then going to school, and then I'm getting home at 8 or 9 o'clock, and then all that in between is eating bad food and not exercising, things like that, just doing whatever's convenient, right? Ordering a pizza on the way home, or I'm exhausted, so I'm slugging a Mountain Dew. I do love Mountain Dew. That hasn't changed. I try to love it sparingly now, but I think it was a combination of all those things, factored in with the injury, and truly not having time per se. You combine that over a long period of time, number on the scale is going to go up.
Yeah, it does. And you said I don't know if it's me or if it's most people. I think it is most people. Like, and I've went on tangents about this before, but 90% of insurance dollars goes towards chronic disease. That's preventable, most of it.
I guess I'm going to ask you a question, even though this is you asking me questions. Like, what is an example of chronic disease? Like an example that I would know without.
Yeah. John Shifley, 6429. John, what's with the numbers, dude? 6429? Is that your address in Normanville? Abram looking slim. Shouts out from NC. That's North Carolina. John has about 4 inches of snow on the ground, John. Is that right? I saw you sent us a picture the other day. Random. Not a lot of snow happens in 90% of insurance dollars goes towards chronic diseases 100% of the time. Yes, you're right, Clark. This was our first guest on the podcast, Jason Clark. Chronic disease. Okay. So arthritis, cancer, Alzheimer's, obesity, kidney disease, heart disease. Those are all chronic illnesses. Metabolic in nature. So, wow, no clue, didn't pick numbers. Oh, got you. 11 inches record for one day. Damn, you got 11 inches of snow? Yeah, so those are the chronic illnesses. Like that's just the list that I could think of off the top of my head. I know I'm missing a bunch, but all of those are what 90% of insurance dollars are going towards. So when you pay your insurance premium every month, you look at that, or not your premium, whatever it's your premium. You're paying that. 90% of what you're putting in there is going towards something that shouldn't be happening. Mental illness is another one, Abe. All those things. It's just wild. There's like the government collects $5.3 trillion a year in revenue from taxpayers. 2.48 trillion of that goes towards chronic disease. It's almost half what they collect. It's insane.
Yeah, trillion. I don't even know how many comments it is, but yeah, sounds like a pretty staggering number.
Yeah, it's wild. I don't know what I was going to say after that. What were we talking about?
Well, I asked you an example of what chronic disease was.
Chronic disease, yeah.
Yeah. And it started by, I said, I think the majority of people do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe not. But.
Coming back. Brain's back. Yeah, it's most of the people. So, yeah, it's everybody. Almost everybody's out there. Like even I had self-induced chronic illness. I had high blood pressure. I passed out at a meeting at work, and I didn't pass out, but I basically was going to pass out if I didn't sit down.
Mm-hmm.
Was on high blood pressure. I was drinking too much. I was eating like shit, and it's all habit based. So, not on high blood pressure medication anymore because I've changed exercise routines and what I eat, how often I drink. So it's just for those of the people that come to the gym, they've heard me say this before, but it's the willful divide. There's like 5 buckets of ways that you can die, and there's a big bucket on the left side, there's a line in the middle, then there's 4 buckets on the right side where you can't control the shit on the right side, but the chronic disease bucket, you can control that. You got to get off the carbs and off the couch. And it's a lot easier said than done. I get that, but you just got to make a choice to say, hey, I've had enough. I need to do something for myself, which you've obviously done that.
Mm-hmm.
So then at some point you said, I got to do something about this. I'm overweight and I want to not be overweight anymore. And you started changing those routines, habits. Obviously Achilles injury, that's not helping anything because you're because you basically can't move then, right? You're 3-wheeling it.
Yeah.
Jason Clark says, as a man literally sitting on his couch and eating carbs right now, what should I do? I like these carbs. I like this couch. You should do Armageddon again. Stop eating carbs.
Clark's full of shit. He's been doing some stuff. He does. He's just capping on the pod. No.
Did you... Go ahead.
You gotta say what did I do to kind of,
what was the turning point where you're like, fuck, dude, I can't Can't do this. I got to make a change.
I mean, it is. I mean, it was literally as simple as when I saw 320 on the scale, and like knowing the fact, and like, listen, I'm not where I want to be, right? But I'm better than where I was. But like knowing the fact that, like, listen, I graduated. Hold on just a second.
You're good. Yeah, and while he's doing whatever he's doing, he's been down 60 pounds. So he's been putting the work in. What are you talking about? You talking to me?
No.
Okay. You're on the phone?
No. My brother came downstairs.
Oh.
With a
Which
pizza
one?
and a Mountain Dew. If you troll him.
That's got to be Cade.
Yeah. But
we know.
What was the question?
You saw 320 on the scale. That was when you decided that it was time.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like I said, or what I was saying, like I graduated high school at 185, 190, and was probably carried like 200, 210 throughout the majority of college, and then that number grew to 240, right, and then it grew to 260, and then I was there for a good amount of time, and then you come like you said, like with the drinking and maybe eating bad with what happened with your high blood pressure, but I was in this basically a routine of this is just what I do, and I knew that I was gaining weight. Like I'm having to buy different clothes because I can't fit into what I was, but I never got on the scale because I just straight up neglect it, in the sense of like I know what that's going to say. It's going to be really high, but I'm like, oh, it's probably 280 or 275, and like at one point it I think 300 was really bad, but then it still was like not enough to really do anything, and then 320 was definitely I guess a breaking point. I mean, it just saddened me. I think is probably the biggest word. It just made me sad that I had done that and kind of let myself go to that, and I didn't really even realize how big I was until like now. You kind of look at some before and after pictures and it's like, dude, what the? I mean, I got pissed at like my buddies at work. I'm like, dude, this is your fault. Like you didn't tell me. You know what I mean? Like, how did you guys let me come here to work every single day looking like this? And, like, it's not their responsibility, right? And they're there to shed positivity, not necessarily hold me accountable. But honestly, at that point was kind of where I was like, okay, shit, I need to do something, or this is going to be not good. And I wasn't even thinking health related reasons. I was literally just thinking more so just like outward appearance. You know what I mean? Of how I looked towards other people and how I felt about myself, not necessarily the ramifications of, the health stuff that obviously go along with it.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I'm trying to teach my kid. Like he's at the age where he's pretty impactful. So like there's a difference between being nice and being kind. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to teach him, listen, dude, you don't have to be nice to everybody. You need to be kind. So you have to have their right interests in mind. But if you say something that hurts their feelings, but you're telling them the truth, that's the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Be kind about it. Right? So if those people at work were being kind instead of nice, they would have been like, hey, dude, let's go to the gym, or maybe we shouldn't eat that pizza again today for the sixth time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like it's a fine line, but especially at work, depending on how big the HR department is. But that's the things that I'm trying to teach them. Like, dude, you're going to have to say shit to people that they're not going to like.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's the right thing to do, that's what you need to do. So you got You got up to 320. I know at some point you saw some of our videos with the killing chronic disease that I did last year. Was it
Mm-hmm.
2024? I don't remember what year it was. And we had texted back and forth about, yeah, dude, you need to go check out a CrossFit gym. Like, it's not all what it's hyped up to be on the internet, on TV. And you're like, yeah, I think I can do this. So at that point, were you already starting that journey, or was that like a kickstart in the ass too?
At the time that we had texted, probably not. I had done like, some subtle changes, kind of on my own without really educating myself. Like, listen, I had enough like common sense to be like, okay, I can't have pizza 6 nights a week, even though I'd love to.
Binkley.
Um, yeah, shout out. Wow, shout out. Um, yeah, that's a great example. So I had made like some subtle changes and, had kind of just felt like, okay, what's a better way to kind of expedite this process? And obviously you owning the gym and things like that, you had referenced or referred me to kind of go to Ashland. But at that time, like I wasn't lifting. Logistically, it would have just been really tough for me to do all that. So like I went one time. Felt great. I mean, I had a ton of energy when I left, and it's like I've kind of known this through forever. Of like, I know like how I feel, and I guess basically the dopamine hit of after you exercise. Just chose not to do it. But at that time when I had reached out, like I had lost a little bit of weight, probably 20, 25 pounds, and then I was like, okay, like, hey, how can I expedite this? And then, I mean, just your constant post of more of. And I think I said this in my testimonial of it's just an educational piece of like, you don't know what you don't know. And if you never have been taught about it, right, or you, I don't know, lack common sense, which I did for a really long time, then you're kind of in a vicious cycle of like, hey, I want to do this, but I'm not really sure how to execute on it. And I think is kind of where the point I was at, and that's where I kind of reached out.
Or you're listening to the government's food model, because that was telling you how to get chronic disease.
Well, yeah, right.
Until they just changed it last month, it was all, hey, let's see how fat and sick people can get. That's what they were telling people to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the education, you really had to seek out like people that have done it or are really committed to understanding how the body works. You couldn't listen to the local health department because they were telling you bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Or the federal government food pyramid, health department, whatever you want to call them. Like it was not good. So you got down 20 pounds. Then like what did you start changing your exercise routine then too? Food related, how did you do that? What was the catalyst there to drive some of that weight loss?
So I think the first thing was the exercise, and this wasn't even lifting. Like I just made it. I vowed to myself, okay, I'm going to walk 10,000. I'm going to get 10,000 steps every single day, regardless of how I do it. And there was a buddy at work of mine that I was like, hey, listen, do this with me, right? I feel like it's easier to do with somebody else, and things like that. So I basically just started walking. And I would, when I was in the office, like we would basically every hour on the hour, not every hour on the hour, but a couple times a day, I'd be like, okay, do you want to go outside and walk? Right. And this is like in, the spring. Yeah. Wise and Clark did some step tracking because I tried to get those guys to do it too. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to make this like a competition to be like, who can walk the most, right? Clark don't do shit all day. He sits at home. Wise is a teacher. And so eventually I kind of started doing that. And Connor Muchler is kind of the one I was texting about that. And he's like, dude, because he lost like 60 pounds. I was like, man, how did you do this? And he's like, dude, I literally just started walking. So I started doing that. Rain, shine, night, day. If I didn't have 10,000 in, I was going to do it. I mean, I was out beating pavement with a flashlight when it was raining with my dog. I'm like, no, I got 1,500. I got 2,000 more to go. I mean, there's multiple people that can vouch for that. And I kept doing that. And then I started to see some weight come off, right? And it was a couple pounds here, a couple pounds there, combined with I'm going to start meal prepping. And I didn't really know what I was doing because I don't think we had a ton of conversation yet. But I also knew like your basic like chicken, rice, vegetable, like keep it pretty simple. And I vowed to myself like I wasn't going to drink any calories. Is kind of where it started. And like I would be subject to, going to Pelican and Bucyrus or Starbucks or any of the coffee places and getting whatever sounded good because it just was easy and convenient. But I'm like, listen, I'm not going to drink any calories. The only thing I'm going to put in my body is water. I throw some lemon in it and some different things, but I was huge on pop. That's probably my Achilles heel for sure. I did this for like literally like, I don't know. I've gone no pop before. I mean, I've gone up to like 3 straight months, which to some people that doesn't sound like a big deal. But when you can drink a whole 2-liter in one sitting, 90 days is like an eternity.
Long time.
And then I think I got to a point of like I was like 283, right? So now I'm down like 40-ish pounds from my highest. And I think that's kind of when I reached out about some different things. Now, when I had done those steps and I'd gotten to this point, and I have a streak. I have the steps app of like, okay, I made it like 40 some straight days of 10,000 steps. And like, there was a here and there, like where I'm at like, 9,600 or right at the cusp. But that streak, and then I kind of started to incorporate some weight training on that. And then obviously conversations with you kind of started picking up of like where we, really started to look at the macros of like not just calories, but like what's within those calories, if that makes sense.
Yep. I don't know what you said something. I was going to ask you a question, but I have no idea where it was going. What are you doing now? Like what's the routine right now?
So the routine's the same. I mean, you can see I got my treadmill behind me. Because I went through a little lull, not a lull, but like it was definitely harder to get some of these steps in December because either I have to make it a point to go to a gym that has a treadmill, or the inability to walk outside simply because of like the weather. I was unable to do that. And then I got sick. I got sick for like 10 days and like I was down bad, but I was like, no, I just know that is an excuse of, oh, the weather's bad, so I'm not going to do that. I'm like, no, this is now a non-negotiable on the steps. So like went and bought a treadmill, so that way I can do it. And now that's definitely changed because I usually try to get in 2 miles before work. It's just walking. Like I'll do, I'll do some incline. I set the speed at anywhere between like 3.7 and 3.9, and then I'll either just walk on a flat surface or 3 or 5. I don't go like crazy on the incline, but I'll do 2 miles and then sprinkle in some other walks throughout the day. And then anything that I'm short, I'll get in the evening. I see what Clark's saying down there. But and then I'm usually like I'm traditional strength training like 4 or 5 times a week now. I'm kind of depending. Cade is into like more like functional strength. Like more hit, probably a little bit more than what you guys do. So maybe 1 or 2 days a week. If I work out with him, like we'll do that, which is crazy hard. But it is, I mean, it's good for you. I can tell you that. I mean, I wear my Apple Watch now. And like when I do those, my heart rate will stay like at anywhere between 155 and 170 when I'm doing those with him. So that's pretty much the routine. The 10,000 steps is a non-negotiable. I looked earlier. I'm at like 12.5. Got a lift in this morning. Got 3 miles in on the treadmill when I got home from the lift. And then I went to the grocery store to kind of grab some things and picked up the rest of my steps doing that. So, I mean, that's my typical workout routine, I guess, if you want to call it working out.
What was the biggest takeaway you had from that back to school nutrition program?
The biggest takeaway that I had,
Yeah.
I guess like that not all calories are the same, um, is probably the biggest one. I think the biggest one too, is like really what protein does and why it's so important. This conversations like that, was in the class, and then like some additional research of how it takes your body longer to kind of break it down, so it allows you to kind of stay full longer. Um, and then with that, right? So you stay full longer, but then it's my interpretation of it is it's your body is working harder to break that down. So like within that, like there's more calories being burned simply because they're just trying to digest and process your food. So like when you really think about it, right? And I had not done that previously, was like, oh, this kind of makes sense. And then like you start you read it, right? And then you apply it, and then you can like physically feel it. Um, I think is kind of wild to be like, man, I had 40 grams of protein for breakfast, and it's 2 o'clock, right? I should have already eaten lunch at noon, but I'm not hungry yet. And being able to point back to what I had for breakfast is that the reasoning behind it, I guess.
Yeah, once you kind of understand it, it's like, why didn't I do this before? But like you said, it's not a lot of good education out there. Most places you look.
No, and I think that's the biggest thing was definitely that. And there was some different things like within the class of, I don't know, just like that's definitely the biggest one that kind of that sticks out. Portion sizes, and I know that you post about it a lot too. Of like protein should fill the majority of your plate, right? And before it was always like, well, vegetables were kind of this, and like that's where I was at, and like I don't know if I'm kind of just rambling here, but I think that was the biggest thing, was probably the protein, why it's important, how much of it should you be, you kind of readjusted my goal, because like I thought I was eating like enough protein, but I think like right now I'm like at 200 grams per day, and trying to stay just under 2,100 calories is kind of where my macros are set. It's difficult to do, right? But I would have never met those macros had it not been brought to my attention, right? I would have just been staying under 2,000 calories no matter what that looked like. And then also, kind of incorporate into how your muscle grows, and like you don't want to just deplete your muscle by staying under 2,000 calories, and those are all, whatever.
Yeah, I think that's a great takeaway. The other thing, like people, they talk about the price of the stuff that I charge, and it's like, this is an investment into your health. Like, I'm going to teach you what to do so you can walk away with this, and you don't have to pay me anymore if you don't want to. That's fine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like,
it's accountability at the end of the day. But there is a lot of education in there for people that don't understand it. So that's just my 2 cents on people bitching about how much I charge sometimes.
Well, I thought it was fairly inexpensive, and two, like you said, it's a one-off.
Yeah, it was for you.
Yeah, well, it should be a one-off. Just in terms of like, once you learn it and you know what it is, and now you just apply it, and like you have that knowledge with you, and so if you're slipping, okay, I can just revert back to this, and this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and I should probably stop you from sliding down the slope, I guess.
100%. Yeah. How about the depression and anxiety meds? How long were you on those?
So it's funny because I figured like we would talk about this, and basically throughout high school, right, I wasn't on them because I was just didn't have the near amount of stress that you have as an adult. But I also think of, now looking back, as like I was just active all the time, and probably, on and off, to answer your question, probably on and off for 14, 15 years.
Dang, that long?
Yeah, if not longer, really.
I didn't know that.
I probably started when I was like 12, 10, 11, 12, somewhere in there.
So then how did you get off of those?
Recently, or
Whenever. Yeah, you said you're off the medication now. How'd you just decided it was time? Pull the plug or what?
yeah, I just stopped taking them. I mean, not without no one told me to. I mean, I just kind of was just like, I'm feeling better, da 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 da. And then, I mean, I know where the bottle is and sitting right by where I put my contacts in, but it's probably been, I don't know, today's February 1st. Probably been since at least October. So, 3-4 months of not having that and feel great. I mean, obviously, like anybody, I mean, there's some days in the wintertime where you don't feel as good as others just because you're trapped in the house and things like that. But that's where I know that I think I texted you the other day of like now going to lift or like going to the gym is like I crave that feeling because I know what it's going to do for me afterwards in terms of that dopamine hit. So, but yeah, 4 months without the medication.
Tate, who you holding, buddy?
Coffee.
Who is it?
Coffee.
Slothy? Yeah. They like the sloth, buddy. What did you just say? You got talking about the depression and anxiety meds?
Yeah, like 3-4 months.
So do you think that's just strictly because of the change in routine and food?
I think it's a combination of both.
Mindset?
I think the exercise, the progress that I've made, obviously the food. And listen, by no means am I even close to perfect. I mean, I try to be as best I can, and that's those are demons that I have to fight between myself because like just because I know it like doesn't mean that I don't crave some things that aren't great for you. It's more so understanding of like how to have it in moderation and
Daddy, what was Mommy Yoda?
Mommy's not scared of anything, buddy.
When we went to the island,
what was the other thing you just said? He's fine. What was the other thing you just said?
Probably just the combination of exercise and then saying that I still fight the demons of
yeah, that was it. You don't have to be perfect. I'm not perfect. Like you just have to have a plan and keep working towards the plan. Keep refining everything every week, every day. Get back on it when you fall off the wagon.
Yeah, and that's my thing of like what helps me is like, today I wrote down what I'm gonna eat for every single meal. And like I've told you, like I do those factor meals, which is those I think have been beneficial just for the level of convenience, and at least I know what I'm getting when I do that. And then, filling in the gaps of like, okay, if I want a snack, what am I going to have in the house or what am I prepared to eat? And then I kind of broke it down and I even put on there cheat days of, I know Friday nights are tough for me just because, somebody texts me and, you're kicking it with the boys or you go and do something, especially like in the summertime, like, you find yourself on the golf course and Clark's always like, yo, you're trying to go to Baker's, whatever. So I fit that into my schedule to where like I know the days that I can control where I'm pretty routine oriented Monday through Thursday, and then up till Friday at lunch, I try to be, pretty regimented, and then that way, those off days, if I were to do that, right, I try not to cheat on the weekends, but life happens, and if I go out with my boys, I'm not gonna be like, yeah, I'm not gonna eat or whatever, but I just know that my first 16 meals of the week have been solid. I don't feel as bad doing that. And then, my lifts are scheduled. if that happens Friday night, I know I'm going in the gym on Saturday morning, and I got a little bit more time to do that. So that's how I get back on the right track. I mean, I'm excited for it to be nice out so I can walk outside and do some other things. But
Yeah, and all the things that you're saying are all things that I would tell anyone to do. Like schedule the time at the gym into your calendar. Understand the obstacles that you might have for the week. Plan ahead for those. Get back on track.
yep.
It's the same. It's like it's a big circle. You just got to continually reassess what you're doing, where you're at, and how you get to the next point. So you said something about golf. Jason Clark says, how do we think this lifestyle change will impact the golf game?
Well, two things. If you want my serious answer, I can tell like when I golf now, like some of the rotation that I have, just like in my upper body, is drastically different because I'm 60 pounds lighter, 65 pounds lighter than what I was. So I know like that makes a huge impact. The amount of time of me standing over the ball, getting ready to hit is drastically cut down. So Clark, maybe you should try that.
Yeah, Clark.
So I think that's a big one. Clark said, are we going to ditch the cart this year? So it's funny that Clark says that. So typically, I'll golf Friday, Saturday, Sunday, if not more, just depending on, what the weekend presents. And normally I do ride. And as a result of when I kind of started really working on the 10,000 steps, I would walk every other hole, right? Or, I'd have my buddy, hey, drive the cart. I'm just going to walk to my ball. Because I know if I'm on the golf course for 5 days or 5 hours out of a day, it's like, dude, it's going to be hot. Like, I'm not going to want to just go walk outside when I do this. So I'm just going to incorporate it into this. Like, I'd be lying if I said I went out and walked 18. But if you walk every other hole, okay, I mean, you can quickly gather 5,000 to 7,000 steps in a round of golf. If you just kind of sprinkle that in. I know Clark walks, Wise walks sometime. I probably never walk 18. But it can be done.
Walking 18 holes.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you sprinkle it in.
Nate Etler walks when he golfs too. I'm like, dude, no chance. Get me on the cart.
Yeah, I mean, if I have a bad shot and the ball only goes 10 feet in front of me, yeah, I'll just go walk to that one. Got to drive there.
John, that's a lie. Good golfers, not. No.
John, I'm coming
John
to Myrtle
Daly
Beach.
rides in a cart. John Daly rides in a cart. Right?
I think he does. Yeah, that checks.
Yeah. Smoking his cig and drinking his beer.
But yeah, I think that's how it'll affect my golf. I mean, I suck at golf. Walking puts you at the right pace for a round of golf. I'll walk in a putt. You know what I mean? You get that thing lined up and you see it tracking. I'll just go walk and pick it up.
So, switching topics back again. So you're down 60, 65 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
You text me earlier this week.
Yeah, maybe.
Said you had a plateau.
Yeah, definitely plateaued. Go ahead, ask your question.
No, go for it. What were you gonna say?
Oh. Like my workouts haven't changed. Like my lifting hasn't changed. My walking hasn't changed. What I've been eating probably the last 4 to 6 to 7 weeks, basically dating back to before Christmas, has been pretty inconsistent. It's where it's like, I mean, my workouts have actually probably increased in terms of intensity. And my walking has stayed on par, but the scale has stayed the same. And we talked about some body recomposition, but I know at the end of the day that number has stayed the same because I haven't been as diligent in terms of what I'm putting into my body. I haven't been tracking, and that's kind of when I reached out. I'm like, yo, I need you to text me breakfast, lunch, and dinner. What are you eating? From an accountability standpoint, until essentially like I get tired of hearing from you, knowing that you're going to do that. So she's like, no, just do your shit. And it's you versus you. You know what I mean? And I got to do this the rest of my life. But if I want to get my goal weight goal weight is 230. That's what I got to do. And it was listening to the David Goggins the other day. Sometimes when I walk in the morning, I listen to different motivational speeches on YouTube. It's usually just a montage. They're all kind of put together. But one kind of said is just like, if you're going to get up and you're going to do something in the morning, just get up and do it the first time, because you're only delaying what you're eventually going to do, right? So instead of laying in bed and looking at, snoozing for 10 minutes and looking at Instagram reels, I fall victim to that. Just get up and do it. It's like, I'm going to get to 230. That's my goal. I'm going to make it happen. So why extend it out further than what it needs to be? You know what I mean? Just do it. Just be damn near perfect. Be 90, 95% every single week versus, 60, 70%. What's going to get me to that goal faster? And those are talks that I just have to have basically in the mirror, because it is. I mean, he says it multiple times in different things. It's you versus you. It's a choice.
Clip that. That'll automate that for me, so I can put that out on the Instagram pretty easily.
Cool.
Yeah, you can't outwork a bad diet. So if you're working your ass off in the gym and you're still eating like an asshole, you ain't gonna see results. You gotta dial in the nutrition. You gotta control your carbohydrate intake, and you have to focus on that protein.
Yeah, and that's
in that order. Control carbohydrates, prioritize protein.
I've always read that, but
you've always
no, like in terms of you cannot work a bad diet, and like I don't know. I guess I really just kind of lived it more so in the past however long. It's just like, oh shit, like there's a lot of truth to that, because like I said, like my intensity level has been up. The walking has stayed the same. It's the only thing that has changed, right? Is that, and it's like, well, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people out there that, like, especially right now, that are trying to be experts on like food intake, and they're all like, "Oh, it's calories in, calories out." The calories don't mean shit. Like it's a measurement of heat or energy, and you're relating it to mass. They don't correlate. So it's like you have to think of food as hormone balancing. And if you're eating the wrong things, your hormones are going to be out of whack. It's going to open the gates for fat storage. That's what it does when you eat too many carbs. Basically insulin opens the door in your cells for fat storage. So all that energy goes into your cells, and that's why you're not seeing the scale move. You lower your insulin levels by restricting carbohydrates, it shuts the door and you burn the energy instead.
Makes sense. Let me ask you this. I know I didn't prompt you for this or anything like this, but like, what would your thoughts be on me like fasting 1 day a week?
Do it.
Really?
Yeah.
Just like 24 hours?
You could go longer.
What would be the benefit for me doing that?
If you can get to 36 hours, autophagy starts kicking in. So your cells basically start dying off and it starts regenerating new cells. So I'm just going to use this as an example, but say like you were eating a shit ton of sugar and you have all these cells that are floating around in your body or making up your body. Those cells will die off. It will regenerate new ones. So if you're eating the right foods and you're exercising, say your A1C is 7.8, you do a fast, those cells die off, it regenerates new ones, your A1C might be like 6.3. I just had a guy at the fire station that did that. So
by fasting, or he just lowered his A1C?
Both. It's the same thing. Like your A1C is going to lower because your A1C is like your average blood cell count over the past 3 months. So if you fast, those cells towards the 3-month time frame are going to die off. So it's going to regenerate new ones, and then you're going to have like just say 2 months and a week's worth of cells in your body. So it's like newer regenerated cells that are not sick anymore. But you'll lose weight, dude. Like I fast every once in a while, probably like once a month at least. I did a 72-hour fast, which is I think 3 days, or I almost made it 3 days. It might have been 60 hours. I lost like 10 pounds.
Really?
Yeah.
How hard was that 1 to 10?
6.
Really?
For me, it's like the first 24 hours were the hardest, and then like you just go to bed. So like I ate at like 6:30, 7 o'clock on like a Sunday night. Started fasting after that. You get to 6:30, 7 o'clock on Monday, and you're like, I'm feeling kind of weird. I'm hungry, and then you just go to bed. Then you wake up the next day, and you're at 36 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So then at that point, you're just like, well, I'll just not eat again today. Then you're at 48 by the time you go to bed, 60 the next morning. So I would try to do for 24 hours and see how you feel, and then you can either eat or keep going. But that's what I would do. But yeah, I think there's great benefits to fasting. Controlling your hormones, like when you fast, the insulin levels will drop. Also, you can kind of, depending on where you're at, like you can get to the point to where you're typically burning glucose. If you fast for long enough, you'll shift into fat burning mode, depending on what you've been eating. Once it does that, like you can feel it changing. And when I did this, I wore a continuous glucose monitor, so I could see like my glucose levels dropping, and then like you can feel it. You feel weird for a while. It's like you're almost numb, tingly type thing, and then once it switches, you just feel normal again. You're like, oh, this is how I'm supposed to feel all the time. But if you're constantly eating carbs, you're never going to get to that state. I don't know. It's weird. I would just say do it. See how you feel.
Clark's comments are ridiculous.
I haven't been looking at them. I didn't prompt you for this, but what color shirt do you think I look good? Killing the fat man by shifting into fat burning mode. Yeah, dude. I'm telling you. You can burn a lot of fat that way too.
Here's the thing, Clark can vouch for this if he's still watching, is like, so some days, sometimes a week, I'll work in Marion and I will go to his house to heat up my lunch. Versus before I would just go out to eat, you know what I mean? Go to a drive-through, go wherever. But now I'm texting Clark, yo, can I bum your microwave? And like, again, this goes back to the self-talk of like, no, I have a choice. Like, is that a fun one to make? No, not necessarily, but that's what I said I'm going to do, and I'm going to go do it. So, I mean, Clark could jump in on the comments. I'm there once a week, throwing my food in the microwave.
It's a lot of territory to cover. You got to stop at Marion.
It's a lot of territory. All
right, we're gonna hit up the comments. John says, in honor of Abe, near the end of this show, I would like to embrace a debate: Iverson or Kyrie.
I need a little bit more information on what you're asking, but here's the thing.
Who's better?
I think I'm taking Kyrie.
Really?
Maybe that's because, I don't know, maybe he's more present in the here and now. But, I mean, Iverson's why I kind of, fell in love with the game, and it was definitely my favorite player growing up, the shoes and all the things. But, I don't know, man. Kyrie's just different. I think Kyrie guards a little bit more.
Allen Iverson was a dog.
He was a dog. I'd take either one of them. It's 1A, 1B for me. Like, those are my two favorite players. But Kyrie won a championship, man. He won a chip.
He didn't win a championship. LeBron did. John said, "Don't disappoint me. You're disappointing him."
I
He
know.
thought you were gonna say Iverson.
I do have some Iverson shoes that are actually right on the floor over here, but I don't know, man. They're both pretty good. Right now, I'm pretty heavy on the Luka train. Kind of reminds me of myself.
Dude, I haven't watched basketball in like 6 years.
I don't watch much NBA. I went to an NBA game the other day.
Did you?
Yeah.
Cavs?
Cavs, Thunder,
Who won?
the Thunder. Dude, they're so good.
I don't
SGA. I
even know.
don't really like SGA, but
Who's
He-
SGA?
he's-
Stan Van Gundy?
I don't even know how to say his name. Shea Gilchrist Alexander.
Who's that?
John, he won the MVP last year. And John's saying Iverson won the MVP, which he did. So I don't know. John might have me on this one. Dude, listen, they're both good.
There's a random guy for the Thunder that I've never heard of that won the MVP.
Yeah.
How old is this dude?
23, 24. He's pretty young.
No shit. Where did he go to college? Did he not go to college?
Kentucky. He played for Calipari.
Did he really?
Yeah, but he was like irrelevant in college. And then, yeah, I mean, they call him the free throw merchant because he just begs his way to the free throw line. He's kind of like John.
When John used to run into the paint, throw it up in the air, and then fall down and get a whistle every time, Brownie Miller would be like, "White." No. I hope Wise is still watching. He'd get the reference.
Wise hasn't even commented, dude. He might not be
He's not
watching at all.
watching. No, he's
Clark said, I don't watch much NBA, but I was just at an NBA game the other day. Oh,
Would I, John? I don't know if I would. Does he travel like everybody else in the NBA does?
bro, he just gets. Did Abe play in the tourneys at BG?
What tourneys? No, I don't think he ever made it. Did Buck?
No,
have,
I didn't
like,
make the cut. They were typically 3-on-3, and I was like the sixth man.
Oh, those. But I
John made it.
Didn't.
It was like John, Brett, and Brandon. Clark, I want you to know this, and I want everybody to know this. When I played basketball at the rec, I was just there for cardio. That's it. I was running around watching Brett and John shoot it 60 times a game.
If I
then, like-
passed, it was a miracle.
Yeah. And then, like, maybe I would accidentally get a ball. And then, like, by then, I was so shocked that I got it. Couldn't do anything with it. There was one time where we played intramurals, and it was co-ed. And Brett was on the bench, and Brett told me, quit passing to the girls. You need to go shoot it. And I did. And I took over. I'll never forget it. I felt proud because, like, it felt like to me at that time, Brett believed in me that I could do it, that I had the skill
I
set.
was sick of you throwing the ball to the curtain, dude. It's like you have a wide open shot and you're like trying to throw it behind the back, between the neck. I'm like, just shoot the ball, dude.
Throwing at the puke dick.
Seriously. Abe averaged a triple-double in turnovers, sub-outs, and near turnovers. Yeah, he did. Yeah, the amount of times that you would throw the ball into the curtain. And I think at one point we were just like, Abe, you either just don't dribble, pass it to somebody if they're open, or shoot it. Don't dribble.
The best part is like usually the ones that hit the curtain, it was always like at a crucial time. Clark, I hope you're listening. And it was always behind the back. And it was just like, it'd be like game point. I'm like, dude, let me cook.
No look, behind the back pass to the curtain. People would be standing there wide open too. And Abe's like, we got to make this fancy. And he did.
And then I'd get yelled at on the way home like I was riding the car home with mom and dad from a sports game.
As you should have.
But yeah, it was fun, man.
It was. A lot of good times. All right, so the plan going forward is get back on it. Right?
I should have brought my notes down from what my plan was this week because I went and I wrote out all my meals of like God, hope I can stick to it. And yeah, John had a nice comment there. But then also like my lifts for the week and things like that. But yeah, I mean that's kind of how I have to do it. It's just like I gotta have a plan. I know a lot of people like write down like, hey, here's our meals for the week. Clark does. At his house, they have a little chalkboard thing of like, here's what we're cooking, and I guess mine's somewhat of a version of that, but just a little bit different.
Yeah, you just have to have a method to it. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to make sure that you're doing something and you're sticking with it throughout the week. That's the main thing.
This is actually what it is.
Cade's
Cade
on
just
it.
brought it down for me.
Is he watching?
I don't know if he's watching or he just heard me.
He has to be watching.
I don't know. You can't read that, but well, maybe you can.
Monday, yogurt, steak and eggs, factor, eggs factor, yogurt factor, eggs factor. Steak is a snack. I like the snack. Texas Roadhouse.
It's just like
Saturday's a cheat meal. Sunday, steak and eggs, steak. What are we getting at Texas Roadhouse?
probably steak.
Okay. What else?
Sweet potato. I like their salads. You know, the hard part is going to be probably the bread. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I don't know how to get you off that. I pressed a button and it disappeared. So now you're the main character. Oh, there we go.
Oh, there it is.
It's hidden. It's hidden behind the button. All right. Yeah. So yeah, limit the bread. What else did you say? You're gonna get steak, salad. Limit the bread.
I mean the sweet potatoes are good.
Sweet potatoes.
Those are usually
That's
what
not
I
terrible.
get there. Yeah.
Tell them not to bring the bread to the table. That's
What?
another option. Just tell them not to bring the bread to the table.
That's true. Maybe I'll saddle up when I'm there. But because like here's the thing, typically on Friday nights, like at some point during the day, like I've made plans with somebody to be like, yo, you trying to do XYZ tonight? And so I know there's gonna be food involved. So it's like instead of going to Paisanella's, which I would love, why not go somewhere where I can get like a steak, even Chipotle. I eat a decent amount of Chipotle. Either do a little bit of rice or no rice at all, no sour cream, no cheese. But at least for me, it's like, okay, I'm still eating out.
What's the cheat meal on Saturday going to be? I'll pull up
Probably
those
pizza.
comments. Where are you getting
Probably
pizza from?
It depends where I'm at. If I'm around town, then probably Paisanella's. If I'm in Columbus, then probably there's a place down there called JT's. Whew, it's gas.
What are you going to Columbus for?
Hang out with people.
All right.
I'm not saying I am. I'm just saying if I did.
How many eggs per meal?
For breakfast, I do 3.
Only 3.
Yeah, I mean that's like typically that's like 21 grams of protein and like 270 calories.
Are you full?
So like
after
sometimes,
that?
huh?
Are you full after that?
Well, here's the thing. If not, I have a mini fridge at work where I keep like those 000 Greek yogurts. So like if not, I'll hit one of those. And then like, or I'll hit the 3 eggs and then have like a protein shake, which we kind of talked about this week of like maybe trying to wean off those a little bit. But if I'm not full, that's what I would sub it with. But typically 3 eggs I can make it to lunch on.
Okay. Yeah, just to give you some perspective, if I'm eating less than 6 eggs for a meal, it's worthless.
It's a lot of eggs.
It is. If you're going to get steak at Texas Roadhouse, your entire menu was literally steak, eggs, factor.
Well,
what's the factor meals? That might add some context to Clark.
Yeah, so the factor meals, like it's picked already, but like I mean I can kind of pick them through. So it's anywhere from like a pork chop to a piece of salmon to chicken to, there's sometimes like shredded beef. So like that's a good variety throughout the week. I mean, I guess I could get something different at Texas Roadhouse, but I like their steaks. Like I like what I'm getting there, so that's why I typically just kind of stick to that. But the factor meals, like I know it says factor and it looks like repetition, but every single factor meal is different. So like there is variety there.
For some reason I thought Outback was Texas Roadhouse, but
Same.
do they have like surf and turf there?
Yeah, I mean you can definitely like add on like shrimp.
That's what I
they have
did last
salmon.
time.
They
We
have salmon.
went to Outback. I got steak and shrimp. It was delicious.
Yeah, so I mean I made a steak today just before we jumped on the pod because my factor meals come tomorrow and I didn't have anything for lunch. And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna have that ready to go for tomorrow.
You used to work at Bob Evans. What's the Bob Evans cheat meal order?
There ain't no cheat meal there, but what's the best order? Man, probably this is gonna sound lame, but probably wildfire chicken salad, or they had like a pot roast sandwich. Sheesh.
Yeah, the pot roast sandwich. I think you told me to get that one time. It was pretty good. Wildfire.
I had a lot
chicken
of meals
salad.
at Bob Evans during the day, man. I miss some Bob Evans.
Wildfire chicken salad's mid.
I hung out with James the other day.
Did you? I know you said he was texting you about something, but what's he up to?
Just sorry. Kate had a text. I'll ask you this question before I answer that. Kate said, "Do you do workouts when you're doing a fast?
Yeah.
So you can work out as normal?"
I mean, it's not as intense as it probably would be if I was eating, but yeah, I still go to the gym workout. It's I don't know how to explain it. If you've never done a fast before, you're just gonna have to do it and kind of feel how you feel. But once you're past that 24-hour mark, maybe it was 36 hours. I don't remember. Whenever I switched from like my glucose kept dropping off and then it just started leveling out. I knew that was when I was switched into like fat burning mode because I was pricking my finger every morning to test my ketone levels, which is basically like if you're burning fat, it's ketone bodies will be elevated in your blood. So I was tracking that number going up. So it was saying I'm burning more fat than carbs or glucose. Once you're into that state, like you understand how in the Bible it says Moses fasted for 40 days. Like you just feel you're not hungry. You don't need to eat. It's just like you feel normal all the time. But when you go to work out if it's an intense exercise day, I'm not going 110 miles an hour like I might normally be. I'm probably going like 85%, 70%, something like that. But I'm just there to move on some of those days. But it felt great.
It's funny you say that because there has been some times that like I don't want to lift. Like either I'm sore from the day before, or it's just like, man, I don't really want to do this. Whatever. I don't have energy. I'm like, man, I don't want to go lift. But sometimes like just go to move to just like, hey, I showed up. I went through the door. Like I did my thing, and every single time I feel better. Like there is no such thing as a bad workout. Like that's something that, like actually, when I lifted this morning with Kate, I'm like, dude, I ripped shoulders yesterday. I was like, I am so sore. I don't want to lift this morning, and I was just kind of groggy. But man, I got home at 11:30. I'm like, hell yeah, let's go take on the day. So like there is some days, I don't know. I just wanted to touch on when you said sometimes I just go to move because just get through the doors and do something. It's better than doing nothing.
Yeah.
Bad workout's better than no workout.
Yeah, 100%. Like I take rest days on Thursdays because we don't have childcare real early in the morning. and then I got to get to work, and then Saturday and Sunday I typically take those off too, because Lexus is either coaching or she goes to the gym on those days. So I mean, I only work out 4 days a week, but it just varies on what's programmed at the gym those days. But when I go, I'm fasted every time because I work out at either 5 or 6 a.m. every day when I go. Saturdays and Sundays are sporadic for me.
So when you eat, do you eat with like anything in mind?
My hands or fork?
No, like, are you tracking your macros, or you try to stay, or you just like you're so dialed in because you just know everything you know, like you could kind of do it all in your head just by looking at food?
I tracked my food for probably 2 or 3 years straight, and then I just get to the point to where I can kind of go off of how I feel. But I can tell you, like, if I go extended periods of times where I don't go back to the scale and weigh and measure some stuff, I undereat a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
So how many calories would you, or you don't do calories, but
No, I probably eat between 1,800 and 2,500 a day if I had to guess. But some days, like, I just don't eat. So that doesn't help. But
do you and you relatively stay at the same weight?
yeah, I've lost probably 20 pounds the last year.
Intentionally or unintentionally?
I would say intentionally to a point, and then it was honestly, I got sick in what month is it? It's February. I don't even remember when it was. May, July, August. I don't know. One of the months I got sick and I lost like 10 pounds. I never put it back on. Fasting, I lost a couple pounds. Never put those back on either. But like I said, if I'm under eating, I'm not going to gain weight. And I like most days I'm eating basically meat or eggs or dairy and maybe some fruit. And that's most days. And then like you'll have a day like this morning, Lexus made homemade cinnamon rolls and I had 3.5 of those for breakfast. And that was all I ate for breakfast.
That's all I ate.
Yeah. But then there's no sugar in them, and there's like 4 ingredients, maybe 5. So they're not the worst thing in the world, but eating that many of them, yeah, it's terrible for you.
So
but
you haven't recently eaten a full order of Pollyeyes breadsticks in one sitting?
No, that was the only one. I've only done that once. I don't think I could ever do that again.
What an incredible feat.
It was. Jordan Oliver told me I couldn't do it, and I was like, watch.
Oh my!
But after I ate those things for breakfast, I had probably 10 ounces of beef and a full avocado with some cheese for lunch, and then I had chicken wings for dinner. So yeah, it was basically got back on it after that. So Jason Clark asked, Brett, do you still get a pizza with pepperoni, bacon, banana pepper, onion? Yes, a variation of that. We order pizza. We typically get it from either AJ's in Fremont from Sal, or we get it from Sloopy's in Port Clinton. And we get Meat Lovers pizza, and we add banana pepper. So we don't put onion on it anymore, but yeah, it's basically the same variety combination. Yeah, John. Chris B. Daly. Yeah. So John's roommate used to get pizza. I don't know. It might have been 2 times a day, at least. Had an obstruction where he was just vomiting every time he would eat. He was just puking up everything. Went to the doctor and they're basically like, dude, you're clogged. Like, food can't get through anymore. And they basically pumped his stomach, got his stuff unclogged, and they're like, yeah, you can't eat pizza anymore. And this was probably like, I don't know, 2:00 in the afternoon. Sure enough, yeah, ordered some breadsticks for dinner. They told me I couldn't get pizza, and we're like, dude, that's pizza. It's called breadsticks. You got pepperoni stuffed breadsticks, which is a pizza.
Yeah, it's just rolled up differently.
All this talk about working out is making me hungry. Go eat some protein, Clark. Yeah, they pumped his stomach or something. John, chime in, but they did something to him to get him like not clogged anymore, and then it's wild.
Less than 4 hours later. It was rumored, I never saw it, but it was rumored that he had pizza boxes stacked up in the room.
Yeah, they were like, I'm going to say that they were probably to the freezer part of the refrigerator. That's how high they were. And it wasn't like a mini fridge. It was a full-size fridge. They were stacked that high. Wild. All right. Anything else?
No, I don't think so. Hopefully, hopefully in 6 months we'll do it again. I'll be 230, maybe less than that.
It won't. We won't wait 6 months. The audience they need another update soon. We'll get you dialed back in. We'll get you start dropping some pounds. We'll do another update.
Sounds good. That's it. Appreciate it.
All right, dude. Thanks. We'll see you soon.